Good morning, guys, and happy Monday. This is Kevin Murphy on my channel called Narcissistic Abuse, Learning Who I Am Again. Well, I'm getting off to a late start because of our city's victory of the Eagles winning the Super Bowl last night. So, congratulations, Eagles and Philadelphia. I live in the Philadelphia suburbs, so it was crazy last night. I mean, people were running in front of my car, and you know, jumping in the streets and things like that. I mean, it was an awesome game. Like, it was almost like the 4th of July in Philadelphia. So while they were shooting off firecrackers in Philadelphia, they were actually shooting off gunshots across the river in Camden and places like Trenton and things like that. But yeah, I'm very happy this morning, as you can see, that the Eagles won and beat the Patriots. And I mean, it was a incredible game. And that was the best Super Bowl I've ever watched. But anyway, back to the topic. Today's video is going to be on addicted to drama much. So, as narcissistic survivors, we tend to be wrapped up in a lot of drama. We tend to gravitate to people who remind us of that original narcissist in our lives, and we tend to unconsciously look for those people that are toxic to us or people that are no good for us. So today I'm going to talk about my experience on a couple of people that I ran into in my own life where I knew deep in my gut that they were no good and they were toxic, but I still tried to have this kind of rapport with them. So I remember back in 2008, I went to Rutgers and I took on this summer job as a janitor. I was cleaning dorm rooms, cleaning the hallways, groundskeeper, things like that. And I was all of 22 years old at the time. And there was this girl that I was working with at the job. And on this video, I will call her, well, I'll just call her the girl, but this girl, she was a troublemaker. And she and I would get into a lot of things that we had no business getting into. She was a gossip. She didn't like half of the people that were on our staff. Now, mind you, we were only seasonal employees. We weren't even really employees, but we were seasonal help. And this girl was talking about how she had a problem with this woman, that woman, this other woman, and these women were regular employees there at the job. And she would just create all kinds of drama. Like, she would give the ladies dirty looks. She would hide and not do her job and go into the into the big TV room and watch Lifetime movies. I mean, I've been with her watching movies together while we're supposed to be working on the clock. And so this girl, I was moving into an apartment from my grandmother's house, and I was moving in with a bunch of friends, and we got this apartment on campus, and I felt like it was good. It was pretty convenient for me because my grandmother lives in Trenton, and which is about 30 plus miles away from where Rutgers is in New Brunswick. And the apartment itself was in New Brunswick, so it was right on campus. I could walk or take the bus to work. And so I noticed this was my first place living on my own, and I noticed that there were like mold on the walls and things like that. And me, I'm not used to living by myself. And it wasn't, I mean, looking back on it now, it wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't something that was that couldn't have been fixed or anything like that. So I remember moving in to this place on Father's Day of 2008. And my grandmother helped me move my furniture in. And I was really excited to be on my own and to be living with my friends. And then I got this sick job that I'm working while I'm living with my friends. So I felt responsible and all this other stuff. And so I remember telling this girl that I was working with that I had my own place, but I had this little bit of mold on the tiles and things like that. And I can't there was something else that was wrong with the apartment, but I can't remember everything because it was so long ago. But yeah, I was telling this girl about my apartment, and she had attitude. She was 2 feet tall. She had weave in her hair and big earring, like she was coming to work as a janitor with weave in her hair and big earrings, and as if she was going to a nightclub. And she had a lot of attitude. Nails did, the whole shebang. And so I was telling this girl, I said, I just got an apartment in New Brunswick, and the girl lived in New Brunswick. I think she's from there. And I was telling her how excited I was to have my own place and, to be living with friends and things like that. And, and I told her, I said, which was my biggest mistake, telling her, I said, there's a little bit of mold on the tile and, it's not a big deal, and she's like, oh no, I would never, ever live in a place like that. Oh, hell no. Hell no. I need you to come and tell me. I need you to let me see this place. And so, as an idiot, I went and took, the girl to the place. And she saw the mold. And, oh my goodness, like, looking back on this, I'm, like, totally, like, it's crazy how I let this girl take me through this. So, she goes in the bathroom, she sees the mold, and she's like giving me attitude like, you need to take care of this. You need to take care of this shit right now, because I wouldn't be living like this. You know what we gonna do? We gonna go to the Puerto Rican Action Board and we gonna take care of this. Come on, bring your ass over here. We gonna go downtown and we gonna complain to the people at the board. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like this girl is a little firecracker. And so I'm going to the Puerto Rican Action Board in New Brunswick to report my landlord because there was a little bit of mold on the tile of the bathroom. And deep down inside, I know that this is ridiculous, but because I was addicted to the drama and the girl was toxic as all get out, I went along with it. And so, and mind you, we're still on the clock. So we were on our lunch break at the time. I took her to my place, and then we go to the Puerto Rican Action Board to go and complain about my landlord. And we're sitting in there waiting for a long time. Now I'm telling the girl, like, we got to be back at work. And she's like, I ain't worried about them. And I'm like, you need to be worried about them because we have a job to do. And so she's like, we're sitting there, we're complaining about, this landlord and things like that. And I'm trying to remember what they ended up telling us, because it was almost like we went there as a couple. And so we went there and they told us something. I can't remember exactly what it is that they told us. But I do remember calling the landlord and the girl posing as my mother and telling the landlord that she threatened the guy by reporting him to the Puerto Rican Action Board. And we've already been there, but she called him after the fact that we went to the place. So I get a phone call from, because she called the landlord. I didn't. I gave her the number, and she called the landlord, and she gave the landlord all kinds of attitude, like, you need to take care of this, you need to get your shit together, you need to da 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 da. Like, I mean, it's ghetto fabulous. So I I get a phone call from this landlord, and he's saying, you need to get your stuff and get the hell out of my apartment. And I'm like, what the heck did you just do? And she just washed her hands of the whole situation. So I'm only in this apartment for 4 days. 4 days. And he's asking me to leave. And so I had to leave because I didn't pay any rent, nothing. Only there for not even a week I was there, and I was thrown out the same week that I moved in because of what this girl was doing. So ended up moving back to Trenton, back to my grandmother's house, and having to travel 30 some odd miles back and forth to work. And this girl continues to just be a jerk and just be crazy and overly dramatic. And so then, so I told her, I said, I lost my apartment. I have to drive all the way from Trenton or whatever. You got to drive all the way from Trenton? You got to drive all the way from Trenton? Word up? Are you serious? That ain't right. That ain't right. And so, like, giving me all of this attitude over something she's done. And so we continue to work together for the next three or 4 weeks, and she's continuously mouthing off to the employees there, the real employees there, and she's going, she's thinking that she actually works as a regular employee here with these people. And she's constantly telling about what the work she's not going to do. She's coming to work telling me, I ain't doing that. I'm not sweeping the floors. I ain't mopping the floors. I ain't doing nothing. And I mean, like, you're here to do a job. And so she would go, and after lunch she would go and watch TV. I would go with her, and and we would spend the rest of the afternoon watching TV together. And we're thinking that we're getting away with things and nobody's watching us, and we don't have to work, and we're on the clock, and we're getting paid to do absolutely nothing. And so at this point, it was around the 4th of July. We came back from the 4th of July break, and I get this notice from our boss saying that we were fired. That me and the girl were fired because we weren't doing our job, and we were being surveillanced on the job. And the girl was talking about how she was going to go back to the Puerto Rican Action Board and how she was going to fight for her rights. And I told the girl, I said, just stop. Just stop. Like, you got me fired. You got me kicked out of my apartment. Just stop. You're not going to get me arrested. And so, so I stopped talking to this girl soon after that. And I noticed that this girl was problem. And, I just, it also reminds me of a situation when I was in high school. When I was I grew up in Plainfield, so I went to a predominantly black high school. And I went to Plainfield High School the first half of my freshman year, and I talked about this girl in a video that I made about 3 weeks ago, where this girl and I were like we were like this, and she was my ace boon coon, and we would cut class together. We would roam the halls together, and I mean, this was Plainfield High School, so nobody really gave a damn what we did, but still, like, it was this girl had a lot of she was a hot mess. She had a lot of drama in her life, and at one point I found out that she was in a Jamaican gang, and she had all these people that there was one time she left the classroom and she was gone for a very, very long time, and we found out that she got beat up or something like that as an initiation, or she beat somebody else up to initiate them in her little clique at the high school. So I tell these stories because when we have been raised and brought up with narcissistic, toxic, dysfunctional individuals, we start to gravitate to other toxic, narcissistic, dysfunctional individuals. And they can be girls, they can be guys, they can be whoever, but we get off on that excitement. Like, I got off on the fact that me and this girl were cutting classes together at Plainfield High School. I got off on the fact that me and the other girl from Rutgers was, watching movies after taking our break when we were supposed to be working. And there's a certain excitement and a certain adrenaline rush when you're getting involved with these people, and you start to feel this sense of euphoria. It's almost like a drug, and that's why we become addicted to the drama. We become addicted to that roller coaster ride. We become addicted to the uncertainty and the madness. And I look back on this on that time that summer of 2008. Now, I was able to get another job. I was able to, get myself together and things like that summer. But, well, I didn't get another job. I ended up selling fragrance out of my car, but and cutting grass. But anyway, like, I would have still probably had that job at Rutgers, and I would have still been in that apartment had I not been addicted to the drama and been in friendship with that girl. And she's gone, and here I'm left with no place to go that's of my own, no job, no income, no nothing. And that's what these people will do. They will destroy you of your everything if you allow them to. And the attitude and the swinging of the head and and all that other crap and the swinging of the finger, it may be cute and it may be entertaining, but is it worth your livelihood? Is it worth you giving up and jeopardizing your career, jeopardizing your emotional well-being and your mental state? Is it worth all of that? And if it's not, then you have to be okay with being bored. Be okay with that loneliness. Be okay. Embrace it. It's not going to kill you. And you will start to attract healthier people into your life that are not, dysfunctional or ghetto or hood rats or anything like that. And it's just... And these two girls that I'm describing in this video were stone to the bone hood rats. And, it was something about, and it's not like they were Miss America or drop dead gorgeous, but it was the fact that they had that drama. And I mentioned in the video 3 weeks ago about the girl from high school where I would tell her everything, and she was the one that fueled the whole thing about me going up to the guy she was the one that went up to the guy, but she was the one that fueled that whole thing, telling me what he said, and I told her what to say back to him, and she was playing the middleman, and I was telling her that I want to fight him and things like that. These people are filled with drama, and and even though I was going through that stuff at the time with that guy and with her and so on and so forth, it was this rush that I was getting, that it was this adrenaline rush. It was and this is why codependents hook up with narcissists. This is why you hear of the good girl going with the bad boy, because there's this dopamine that's just it's high. It's like, whoa, like this girl or this guy is, oh man, he's amazing, she's amazing. It's just something that just it brings life into us, because that's what we grew up with. We grew up with that programming. We grew up with with that that lifestyle of not knowing. Some of us grew up with that lifestyle of not knowing if our mother was going to get hit tonight, or some of us grew up with that lifestyle of is mommy gonna come home drunk, or is dad gonna come home high, or is there gonna be food on the table, like. And you coming out of a situation like that, you begin to attract and want people like that in your life. So I kind of got off on my video list. I created a video list of videos I'll be doing in the future. I'm going to do part 2 of Saturday's video tomorrow, I promise. And mommy's little boy response will happen either Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how this work week goes, or how I feel and whatever. But definitely mommy's little boy video will be up before the week is over. And then I'm going to be doing more videos on narcissistic mirroring, learning how to validate self, and to stop looking for closure from your narcissist. So if you broke up with your narcissist and they have either ghosted on you, or you broke up with them, or they discarded you, a part of you wants that closure and wants to know what the heck happened in my relationship. And I wouldn't steer clear of trying to look for closure. I would steer clear of trying to look for any kind of sense from that situation, because if you're involved with a narcissist, nothing ever makes sense. If you're involved with a toxic person, it just doesn't make any sense. So the best thing to do is cut your losses and move on. Just like I did with these 2 girls. Like, I cut my losses, I saw that they were toxic, and I moved on. And what you have to do is you have to move on completely. And because what I was doing was I was moving on from these girls, but then I was attracting other people that were toxic. I was attracting other situations that were toxic, that were exciting, and oh my gosh, like I want that person in my life. And that person is only there to create conflict and drama in your life that's not necessary. So please stay tuned for more videos. I am Kevin Murphy. Again, congratulations, Eagles, and I will see you next time. Please subscribe and tune in to more future videos. Bye.